Alright, so to assist you with some of your drawing tasks for this week, we're going to talk about a brand new tool on the status bar. We've already seen line weight display, so the new tool is this one here next to Object Snap. It's called Object Snap Tracking. So if you would please turn that on. And Object Snap Tracking is a tool that helps you to line things up. Line things up. What do I mean? Well, let's try this together. And click on the circle tool. And we'll turn on endpoints and midpoints for our snaps and intersections. Okay. I want to draw a circle that is even with the midpoint here and even with the midpoint here. So now this would be tricky to do if we didn't have this tool, Object Snap Tracking. What you might be tempted to do is something like this. Draw a line from the midpoint there, draw a line from the midpoint there, and then find the intersection, and then draw a circle at the intersection. Okay, but then you have to go back when you're done and delete those lines you drew. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with drawing lines, it's an extra step, right? So what we can do though is with Object Snap Tracking turned on, we can find the midpoint and then just leave it there for a second until you see the word midpoint pop up. And when you do, move away. Now, do you see the little gold thing up there on the line at the midpoint? That little gold tick? That means AutoCAD is tracking that point. Let's move to the midpoint over here now. And when you see the word midpoint pop up, AutoCAD is tracking that point. So if you look, there's a tracking point here and a tracking point there. And if you move your cursor over and line them up, even though your eye is not perfect and your hand is not perfect, AutoCAD will line the 2 points up so that when you draw, your circle is lined up with the midpoint of the top edge and the midpoint of the side edge. Alright, that's some cool stuff. Let's try it out here. This used to have a square corner, but we chamfered it. Well, I want to put a little circle out here where the corner is supposed to be. So let's track. Let's acquire the endpoint there. Let's acquire the endpoint there. It left a little golden plus sign at each of those. And as you slide over, check it out. Bam! There you go. See, that is the natural intersection of those 2 points. We can do it on the inside too. Let's do it on the inside also. Let's find that point there. Let's acquire this point here, and let's slide over until we find the natural intersection of those 2 corners. So, Object Snap Tracking is supposed to help you so that you don't have to go in there and draw lines to find where to put the center of your circle or where to start a new element of the drawing that has to line up with something you've already made. Okay, because these lines usually have to go away afterward, right? There's another slick use of Object Snap Tracking. Do you see how I lined up with the edge that's already there? See, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to hover over the corner until it says endpoint. I'm acquiring the endpoint. And then when I slide up, it's keeping me lined up perfectly even with the endpoint. Now I'll go over to here and I'll acquire that endpoint. And I'll move my cursor up slowly and then bam! I just drew a line that is the same size as the edge down here. Okay, and I want to come back this way. I will acquire that endpoint and come up and then plop. There we go. Alright. Let's make a new layer. Let's call it hidden. The line type, we're going to load up a hidden line. Maybe hidden 2. Make it current. Let's see if we can do some more tracking. Ready? I want to track from the quadrant, so I'll turn quadrant snap on. And I want to go straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up, bam, till I hit that edge. Okay, so I drew a hidden line even with the quadrant of the circle down here. I'll do another one from this quadrant. And now you can take the easy way out and just click on it and drag up. But then you got to go back in and you got to shorten it, right, and adjust it. You see, it's fewer steps. It's easier. It's less work just to acquire the point with object snap tracking. Scooch up and then just draw up there at the top where you want the element. Let's go back to our layers again. Center. And we'll make it a center line. Center 2. Okay. Make it current. I want to draw a center line up here going through the object. Alright, so using tracking, you're able to project without having to draw lines. You're able to line things up without having to create construction lines or construction geometry to figure out where to draw things later on. Kind of another nice cool thing about object snap tracking is this. I can acquire this point here. I can point to the right and I can type in, well, let's do this first. Let's go to the layer 1. Let's start line. Let's go to the right after we acquire the point and type in 1.5. Enter. Now, how far away do you suppose that line is from where we started? Well, if you said 1.5, you are absolutely correct. You know why? Because that's what I told it to jump when I started drawing it, right? I'll hover, acquire the point, point to the right, type in 1.5, and now that line segment is exactly, precisely 1.5 away from the start point. Okay, so this is how we are going to work on the plate assignment. I'd like you to work on that plate assignment so that yours looks like mine. And then actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to add another hidden line. We're going to line it up with this corner here. But I want that line in the top view, so track up until you hit. And then add a hidden line up there. We have another exercise though that involves object snap tracking, and it's this one called flow. So this is a process flow diagram, a PFD. Basically, it's like a flow chart for a chemical or mechanical process. So if we were drawing piping or working with instrumentation, we might see a drawing like this. These things represent different pieces of equipment or valves or different vessels. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect one piece of equipment to the next piece, and we're going to use object snap tracking to do it. So the goal is to turn what we have in the CAD drawing into what you see here on the screen. See, for example, our flow comes in to the bleed storage, and then it leaves and it goes straight down into this gate valve. Now, for you, when it's time to draw that, you got two options. You could do it the hard way. You could draw a line, and you could draw a line, and then you could trim, right? Because we're connected to the midpoint of the arc and the midpoint at the edge of the valve. But that's so much work. And honestly, if you worked for me, I don't want you to spend extra time wasting time. I want you to work efficiently. Someday you will work for somebody who will want you to work efficiently, right? And even though you don't work for me right now, don't think I'm being greedy by wanting you to work quickly. I'm actually just thinking about your social life. Yeah, that's right. See, I know that it takes time to do homework, and I know the more free time you have, well, the happier you are. I know I'm happy if I have a lot of free time. So, if I can show you a way to do this quicker, you have more free time. I am helping out your social life. No, don't thank me. It's okay. All right, so how are we going to do with object snap tracking? Well, click here to start. And when you're wondering how far to go, just acquire the midpoint on that gate valve. And when you've got it, go up, 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 and click so that when you come straight down, you're already in the right location. Okay, and then we take a look at the next step in the process. From the gate valve, it goes into the quadrant on the compressor. Right, so we'll start at the gate valve, and we'll go down, and we're looking for the quadrant on the compressor, and we'll line up with it and go into it. All right, so this is the basic idea, and this is what I'd like you to do. I would like you to take your PFD, your process flow diagram, and I'd like you to make it match my process flow diagram here. Okay, and then when you're all done with it, you're going to click on where it says drawn by, go to the end of the text, and type your name. Okay, because you will be saving this one and uploading it. Alright, so I'll follow the instructions on what to do to plot it out. If we are on campus, we'll probably plot it out and turn it in from one of the printers. But if we're doing things distance or online, we'll probably be plotting this out as a PDF. Right, so we'll start the plot, and then we'll go to DWG to PDF, and then follow the instructions over in Canvas for what settings to use as you set up your plot. Alright, so this is working with object snap tracking. This is not getting turned in, plate is not getting turned in yet, but flow is, and that's where we're going to break.